Shabbat Shalom. Our Parsha this week is Behar. This is a Parsha that falls out during what we know is counting the Omer. So, I wanted to discuss counting the Omer because it's very well known, at least aspects, but very poorly understood by the Jewish community. We'll begin by explaining it. This is the reason why I need a haircut. Okay? Why do I want to have a haircut? Because during the counting of the Omer, certain periods of the counting of the Omer, we're in a national period of mourning. That's why, as you well know, after Pesach, there are no weddings for a certain number of weeks. How many weeks? It gets very confusing. In each Jewish community, it's a little bit different. And one of the aspects of a mourning process is we don't get a haircut. I should have got a haircut right before Pesach, then it wouldn't have been a problem. But Pesach came, it was a little bit too busy, didn't get to it. So this is what we call an Omer, head of hair, a little bit out of control. Why is there a period of mourning? We're not really sure. That's the strange thing about it. The standard answer, and the best we can put together, is that during this period of time, the students of Rabbi Akiva from Talmudic period were in rebellion against Rome. We know about the rebellion against Rome. His students were part of the army. He was supportive of the rebellion against Rome under Bar Kokhba. This was the second rebellion against Rome. After the temple had been destroyed, there was another rebellion. Rabbi Akiva's students were part of it. A plague, a disease broke out in their encampment and was devastating them during this period of time. And then we're told that 33 days into this counting of the Omer, the disease ended. The plague stopped and they recovered from their illness. So during this period of time, when there was such death and destruction, became a period of mourning for the Jewish community. That's the best we can put it together. But the question is, why do some people allow weddings only after Lag BaOmer? Why do some not allow it until the 50th day of the Omer, which is the festival of Shavuot? Why are there different means of counting? And that has to do with how we approach this whole question. The ending of the mourning period of Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the Omer, is because something good happened to the Jewish community. The plague ceased. So that would bring the mourning to an end. But in Jewish history, there's also something else that happened later on in Jewish history, in fact, in our period of time, and that is the establishment of the State of Israel. Now, what greater moment for the Jewish people could there ever be than the establishment of the new Jewish state, the third Jewish Commonwealth, after 2,000 years of exile? So, many in our community, meaning the conservative movement and the reform movement, look at the calendar and say, if for the past 2,000 years we have ended this period of mourning on this day in which the plague ceased to attack the students of Rabbi Akiva, why wouldn't we in the modern period bring an end to the period of mourning on the day that something much greater happened, the establishment of the State of Israel, the creation of the Jewish state, creation of a place where Jews could flee, places that they were in danger, where their lives were in danger, in order to preserve their lives. And in fact, 800,000 Jews fled the Arab countries, where their lives became very, very difficult and very dangerous. 1 million Jews left the Soviet Union, the former Soviet Union, and came to Israel. Israel has been a haven for not only the Jewish community that had to flee other countries, but has become a haven for Jewish culture, Jewish learning, Jewish life. Almost 6 million Jews living in the State of Israel. So if you could end the period of mourning because a plague stopped in one encampment, why wouldn't you end the period of mourning for the establishment of the State of Israel? So it's a different way of viewing Jewish history. In our movement, the conservative movement, we view it dynamically. What happened in the 20th century, what will happen in the 21st century, it matters. It counts. It is as significant, if not perhaps more significant, than something that happened 1,800 years ago or 1,900 years ago or 2,000 years ago. So we look at the establishment of the State of Israel as a moment in Jewish history that is so powerful that we end the period of mourning that was established thousands of years ago during this period of time, and we begin to have weddings. So that's my way of telling you also that after Yom Ha'atzmaut, I'm going to go get a haircut. And I'm going to do weddings. And we're going to celebrate, and the period of mourning will end, because Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israel Independence Day, brought 2,000 years of mourning. mourning for the loss of our sovereignty, to an end. And there can be no greater moment on the Jewish calendar for the Jewish people as a nation than that day of Yom Ha'atzmaut. So, the period of mourning will come to an end, and in many parts of our community there will be weddings, and there will be celebrations of bar and bat mitzvahs, parties with music, and the Jewish people will celebrate. That's how we view history. That's why in our movement, Yom Ha'atzmaut brings an end to this period of mourning known as the period of the Omer, and we have returned to our celebrations, we have returned to rejoicing, we have returned to singing and dancing, as we did and will do on Yom Ha'atzmaut. So, we wish you a happy Yom Ha'atzmaut, which, when you see this video, will have just occurred, and we will continue now counting the Omer with joy as we await the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai on the festival of Shavuot. Shabbat Shalom.